Welcome to Whatif tutorials. In this tutorial we will be talking about setting up the sales budgeting module. We'll be covering the creation of months and phasing factors for monthly phasing. We'll be dealing briefly with the master files that are required before you can start creating your budgets. Now, if you have the product quotes module, all of those master files are in there. If not, and in any case, you can consult a previous tutorial entitled Product Quotes Master Files, where the details of those master files are covered. I will cover them briefly here, but you can go into more detail in them in that tutorial, Product Quotes Master Files. We'll be looking at budget value only items. These are items you budget for that other than products from the costing module. The costing module, of course, contains all your item master file, and the item master file contains items which you can then budget for in that detail. But as well as, or instead of that, you can just use budget value items which are created in this module, in the sales budgeting module. Finally, we'll be looking at budget header numbering. Okay, let's, from our sales budget menu, first of all, click phasing and months. Now here you need to specify month 1 to month 12, whether it's July to June or whatever else you want, you can do it here. Secondly, you can create at least one phasing factor. Now these are percentages from first month to the last month and must add up to 100, and you can give them a code and a description. Now one of these must be the default. So to set the default, just point to the one you want and set it as default, so that when you create a budget header, the items in it will be phased by default using this percentages by month here. Okay, next go to master files, and as I said in the introduction, these are the same master files you will find in the product quotes module, and you can go to the tutorial on product quotes master files to get the details on each of these, but I'll briefly go through them. Market types, a code and a description for each market segment. Shipping methods. This is one of the options you have in the budget to refine your budgeting, to distinguish between budgets for products going to different areas. So that's a shipping method. States self-explanatory. Salespersons, these are your salespeople. So they have a code and a name. Discount groups, this is another means of refining the sales budget. You'll soon be covering this, but these are simply a code and a description and a % discount, so that some customers belong to one or other of these discount groups. Customers, we have each customer, this is the customer master file. Each customer has a salesperson, state, market type, discount group, shipping method. So all of those master files we just referred to, for each customer, he has his default salesperson, default market type, discount group, shipping method, and terms. So, and addresses. So that is the customer master file. And as I said a moment ago, you can look at this in more detail in the Product Quotes Master File tutorial. Next, we've got factories. Each budget is within a factory. Then we've got categories and groups. Categories, 2-digit code. These are set in the costing module. So each category belongs to a group. So you go through your groups and you'll find the categories that belong to them. And budget value only items. These are items that you can budget for, and the lowest level of detail in a budget, other than if you're using items from the costing module. To create one of these, we select the factory, we give it a code, we give it a description, we give it a long description, and we select a category for analysis. Taxable, yes, I know. Now, the key to these is the standard gross margin. That is the difference between the sales and the standard cost. When it comes to items from the costing module, each one of those has a sell price and a standard cost, and therefore a standard gross margin. This is the equivalent for items that are created here as budget value only items. So you might have this particular item might have a margin of 25%. So this means that when you are budgeting for these sorts of items, you are budgeting for a sales value which attracts a 25% margin to give you your budgeted margin. Whereas with items from the costing module, where you are budgeting in units, the quantity of each item times its price gives it sales, and then the quantity of each item times its standard cost gives its cost of sales, and then the one minus the other gives the gross margin. So that happens with your costing module items, whereas this is how we deal with sales value only items. So once you've created these, the last thing to do is to select a header number. We'll be talking about headers in the next tutorial, but each header can be created, or every budget can consist of as many headers as required, and with a minimum of 1. And then within each header you can add items, whether they're costing module items or value only items, to build your budget. Okay, so we can give that a number. If you're going to change this number, don't go backwards, always go forward in case you go back and duplicate. So that number will be incremented every time you create a new budget header. Okay, that ends this tutorial.